Hi, my name is Ted, and welcome to Beaver River Bushcraft. This will be my first video. I decided that after about 2 days of rain, I'd go out and check on a shelter that I started this winter. This is that shelter. Now last winter, late fall, when I started this shelter, it was kind of dry. Not so much now, as you can see. And this was a fairly heavily wooded spruce. The boughs were heavy, but if you look, there's been a lot of boughs on the ground this year. We had a very, very, very heavy snow. We got about 20 inches of snow on the Easter weekend, and it has pretty much ruined the woodland here. We are ripe for numerous fires. I'll just step out here and show you. All of this was knocked down by that heavy snow. There are trees that are 6 inches across, knocked down. There are trees that are 20 inches across, knocked down. So it's kind of been a little disconcerting, to say the least. I'm not sure why this is so dark. I'll bring that up here. A little disconcerting, to say the least, because when I started this I had time, but then as winter approached, work seemed to take all my time, and I didn't get it finished. So I'm hoping that I can do that. Oh well, I came out here today to light a fire, so I guess I'll proceed with lighting a fire. So this is kind of what we're looking for. Some dead standing trees. Now, if you notice that they've been rained on pretty good, but if you pull some of this stuff away, there is some spots in here that are still dry. So I'm gonna knock this down and take it into camp and see if I can't process it into something that'll work. There's these old willows, they dry out pretty good. So we'll see what we got. I don't own any high-priced gear, or not much of it. I've been doing this since I was quite young. So here's a piece of that willow that I took down. And I'm just going to cut it up into something a little more manageable. Had bad tools, I've had cheap tools. I wasn't a very wealthy, I come from a very wealthy background. So lots of people on the internet today are running around and they're doing fires with $300 knives and this and that. Well, I'm I'm going to show you that this was my great uncle's Boy Scout knife, and there's quite a story to that. Someday I might tell it, probably not though, of how I got it, but we'll have to see. So as you can tell, even these pieces that I'm taking off of this are fairly dry. And that's been out. That's been out in the woods for, well, at least 2 days in the rain. So as you can see, once we get into this, these curls themselves will light up quite readily. So a pile of those would light up fairly quickly. Well, there's nothing wrong with using a knife. There's nothing wrong with using a lighter. What you want is the pieces of material that come off of here. Now, is this the greatest knife in the world? No, it's not. But will it do the job? Yeah, it sure will. Now, I'm taking curls off of this, but this is a hardwood, and it doesn't really like the curls coming off the edge like this. It likes it coming from the middle. So, actually cutting this in half. Now, I'm not a big fan of baton and a pocket knife, because it's really not a knife to baton. But really, all we're looking for is a big bird's nest of this. There's a couple of birch trees down over there. I'll show you a shot of them in a bit. And this is a very interesting situation here because it's very wet. There's my puppy Bella. She might be in the frame. Now, a better way to get these shavings off of here, because while this is a spruce and it would like going along with the rings, hardwoods tend not to like running along the rings. So, very quickly, I'm just going to split this. And you can see that the curls come off just as nicely on the inside, maybe a little more fine. is not a good fire sticking knife, I will tell you. A feather sticking knife, I'll tell you that. I've had better. But I am getting a little bit there. And I can tell you, you'd want a bigger knife for this, that's for sure. Set that to the side. Carve through that knot a little bit. Put those over there. Don't want to waste anything. Once you get a plane on here, they usually go a little better. Now that pocket knife is pretty good for most things. And I've used that for quite a bit of my life. I've had it for 45 years, and my great uncle was probably in his near 60s when I got it from him. So it makes for a nice family heirloom. So some of you people are probably going to start saying, well, why isn't he batoning? Well, you only baton when you have to. And if you don't have to, well, don't bother. Just about a brand new fire steel. So let's just see what we can do here. Oh, had flame. Hard to keep. There we go. We just keep feeding this over. Well, I guess not. Alright, well, we'll try it again. Well, that doesn't work very well for that. Darn near impossible to light a fire with that. Birch bark is burning, so I shouldn't have any issues at all getting the fire going. Get this inner wood, that's the stuff you're looking for. That's the stuff you get. Boy, then by all means, that's the stuff to use. Now I used a stick that was about, I don't know, 1.5 inches across. And that and a dead birch. Gave me one small piece of birch off of it. Now this is actually I'm in under a spruce tree, so I could literally just break off some twigs, and in a minute or two, I'll have a pretty good flame. And this is wet. I am soaked where I'm kneeling, even with a pad on my under my knees. It's pretty wet. So this is pretty much a quick fire, just a little demo. I could build this up and heat up my water and have myself a tea. I might just do that. As you can see, this is now what we'd call a sustainable fire. And no, I'm not going to let it burn on this stump. It's just the stump was up high and it's dry enough that I could get a fire going on it. Everything else around here is just sodden. So this is pretty much a quick fire, just a little demo. I could build this up and heat up my water and have myself a tea. I might just do that. So like I said, I'll show you where I got that chunk of birch bark, just so you won't think I was scamming you in any way. So here's a couple of dead standing trees, and these ones had gotten knocked off. So all I did was I just come over here to this one and just peeled a little bit of birch bark off it. That was all I did. And I got a piece about 2.5 inches wide and maybe 8 inches long. I'll talk to you again. Again, this is Ted with Beaver River Bushcraft, and thanks for watching. There's more to come. It just takes me a while. I'm very new at this. Stay tuned.